Hi, Father Greg here. Thanks so much for joining me for a few moments as we delve into our Catholic faith and ask and hopefully get some good answers to our questions. Before I get into some questions, I first want to share with you that as I go around town, and I'm sure a lot of priests have the same experience right now, I see different people in stores and stuff, and a lot of them will ask me, "Hey, Father, are you open? Is church, have you resumed masses and all?" And the answer is yes, we have. Nearly every church in our area is up and running almost at full steam. Maybe in some cases the schedule has been modified for masses, but since mid-June we have been open, and each week we're seeing more and more people coming back to Mass in person. Of course, I'm really happy that many can share with us digitally, virtually, by going online and watching our live stream masses or live stream Mass from whatever parish is your home one. But I just want to encourage people that if you're able to, come and join us in person. We are taking every precaution to keep all those who come safe. And so far, everything has been working really well. People are cooperating with the regulations in place, again, to ensure everyone's safety. And we're certainly doing so here at St. Gerard's. So a reminder to you that we have Mass on Saturday evening at 5 p.m. and on Sunday at 8 a.m., 10 a.m., and 12 noon. The 5 p.m. Mass is live streamed and then archived on our website and on our social media, so you can always access it that way as well. But again, if you're able to join us in person, consider doing so. Of course, always be sure that you remain safe, and if you are in one of those high-risk categories, please be sure to consult your physician and your loved ones before you decide to come back. But we do look forward to seeing you as soon as possible. This week, I thought I would do a little bit of a lightning round. There are a number of questions that come in. I try to group them together in some sort of logical sequence, but today their questions are a little bit all over, so I just thought I'd go through and answer as many as I can in these few moments. The first question someone asked is a cardinal over other bishops? So we have to remember this, first of all. In our sacramental theology, the sacrament of holy orders, that is ordained ministry within the church, has three orders: bishop, priest, and deacon. Those are the only three orders. So sometimes we hear about an archbishop or a cardinal or a monsignor or a vicar, and these other terms. Those are all distinctions within certain offices. But the only three offices are bishop, priest, and deacon. A bishop is a successor to the apostles. Bishops are the chief shepherd of their diocese. They may have auxiliary or assistant bishops who assist them, but there is only one bishop per diocese who is, as we call, the ordinary. That means that he exercises ordinarily the role as chief shepherd, teacher, and governor, as it were, of that diocese. And each bishop is the chief shepherd for his diocese. There is a sense of collegiality, a term I used in a previous video, where bishops do cooperate and want to be together in their teaching, but each bishop is autonomous within his own diocese. A cardinal is a particular office within the church. They are appointed by the Pope directly, and cardinals have two major functions. First, they help the Pope in his governing authority over the whole church. And so all the cardinals are distributed among different congregations or councils, kind of like the Pope's cabinet, that help him to guide and govern the church on a daily basis. And secondly, and perhaps more famously, cardinals are charged with electing a new pope upon the death, or as we saw recently with Pope Emeritus Benedict, the resignation of a pope. So those are the two chief functions of a cardinal. But cardinals do not exercise authority over other bishops in their area. So for example, here in New York, Cardinal Dolan is the metropolitan, which means he is kind of the first among the equals of our region, which is New York State, the 8 dioceses that comprise our state. But he does not exercise authority over Bishop DiMarzio in Brooklyn or Bishop Barris here in Rockville Center. Instead, they work together and always want to be in communion, in harmony with each other. But the cardinal does not set policy for other dioceses. Another person asked about monsignors. They said that, what is a monsignor? And we're hearing that there are no more monsignors. Well, what a monsignor is a title of honor that a bishop can request the Pope for a priest in his diocese. So it was very common in years past that every year or so, perhaps more, the bishop might announce a Monsignor, meaning a title of honor for a priest in his diocese. Pope Francis, some years ago, modified the awarding of these honors, these papal honors, if you will. He wanted to kind of simplify the use of the honorary title Monsignor. And so now it's simply for priests who are older, maybe nearing retirement age, and so we don't see as many Monsignors being named. But a Monsignor does not mean that a priest has particular responsibilities or extra powers than a regular priest. No. Again, there are only 3 orders: bishop, priest, and deacon. So a Monsignor is an honorary title. Someone else asked about reading in the Gospels. She said that she was reading that Jesus said at one place, "In heaven they no longer give or are given in marriage." And this unsettled her a little bit. She wanted to know, does this mean we're not married in heaven? Well, this is a really interesting question, because in the Gospels we do in fact hear Jesus say that in heaven we no longer give or are given in marriage. So it makes us think there's no more marriage. We have to remember that marriage is a sign in itself of the love that God has for us. The church teaches very clearly that if we want to understand, if we want an icon, a thumbnail, a quick sketch, a symbol of God's love for the whole world, we look at the love between a man and a woman, and in their fruitful love of raising a family. Some of the great saints and doctors of our church have used that image of a family, a husband, a wife, and children, to symbolize, in fact, the Trinity itself. And so marriage is a sign, a symbol, a foreshadowing of the perfection that we will receive in heaven. So in a sense, there is not marriage, because marriage on earth is an exclusive love between 2 people. But in heaven, we will be perfected by God's love. We will be able to receive love and give love perfectly. So it no longer is exclusive, but now is all-encompassing. Likewise, there is no, in a sense, priesthood in heaven. We offer the sacrifice of the Mass, and we offer the sacraments of the church for the people of God as priests here on earth. But in heaven, we are before the high priest, Christ himself. So in a way, there is no priesthood, just as there is no marriage. Does this mean that we're going to lose the people that we love, that we're not going to be reunited with them? No. Heaven, as St. Paul tells us, is what eye has not seen, ear has not heard, nor has it so much as dawned on the mind of humanity, what God has prepared for those who love him. Because we are here on earth, because we are finite beings, we have categories and terms, but they're always limited. When we're dealing with the stuff of God, we have to recognize our limitations. In heaven, there are no limitations. It's a hard concept for us to understand. Nevertheless, we surrender ourselves to that great mystery, that in heaven we are perfected and our love becomes all-encompassing. Someone else asked that we often hear the Mass referred to as a sacrifice, and as Christians we are called to sacrifice ourselves for others. The question is, if Jesus offered the ultimate sacrifice on the cross, how come this concept of sacrifice continues now? A really great question. Yes, on the cross, Jesus offered the perfect sacrifice once and for all. Remember the Jewish roots of our Christian faith. They're steeped very much in the idea of temple sacrifice. Even Jesus goes to the temple time and time again in Jerusalem, the holiest place for the Jewish people. He goes there to teach and to preach. We know that some amazing healings happened while in the temple area. And of course, the temple was the source, the summit of Jewish worship. And so Jesus, as a young boy, would have been brought by Mary and Joseph there at least once a year. And we know that as an adult, Jesus went to the temple very often. And in the temple, people would offer sacrifices. They would give to the priests those things that would be sacrificed, whether it was for reparation of sin or in gratitude. And the Mosaic law is filled with a lot of prescriptions about sacrifice. All of that was a foreshadowing of the sacrifice that Christ would offer. Remember, Good Friday takes place in the context of the Passover meal, the most sacred for Jewish people. In the Passover, we recall how through Moses, God freed the people of Israel from bondage, from slavery in Egypt, and brought them in time to the Promised Land. Jesus Christ is the final Passover. He is the unblemished Lamb who offers himself, sacrifices himself willingly for our sake. So for us as Christians, that Last Supper, the Passover meal, Jesus transformed it when he said, "This is my body. This is my blood. Do this in remembrance of me." For us as Catholics, we hold those words of Jesus in very high regard because they are the foundation of what we now know as the Mass. So every time we are at Mass and we see that bread and wine consecrated by the priest and held aloft, we are witnessing once again Calvary. It is representing in an unbloody way the sacrifice of Christ on the cross. And you and I, yes, as Christians are called to sacrifice ourselves because in sacrificing we are imitating Jesus Christ on the cross. So when we offer sacrifices of love for each other, sometimes they're small. It's holding a door for someone, waiting a few extra moments to help them. Maybe it's washing another load of dishes in the sink when someone else might be tired. We can offer those small but tangible sacrifices, and sometimes the sacrifices are a bit greater. Waiting at the hospital bedside. Our brave first responders who go running into disaster and tragedy and chaos to help and bring healing and stability. So sacrifices continue, and we have to remember that our sacrifices are united to Christ's, to bring health and healing and wholeness to another, just as the one sacrifice of Christ on the cross has brought full redemption to the whole world. Thanks so much for joining me. As always, please feel free to submit your questions. You can follow the link below to do so. And also, please like and share this video, and be sure you're following us on all our social media here at St. Gerard Majella Parish. Again, we look forward to seeing you as soon as possible at Mass in person here on Saturday at 5 p.m. or Sunday at 8, 10, and 12. God bless you and your family.